We are live, I hope. So, as soon as I get confirmation from chat, we have sound. All right.
Oh my
Hello,
God.
everyone, and welcome back. First of all, thank you for sticking with us through our technical difficulties. Second of all, thank you for joining us for our second campaign, or our second session in this campaign. So, my dearest players, I have three of you here today. Would you mind introducing yourselves for everyone watching? And a little bit about your character, if you would, as well.
Hi, my name is Sunny Kay. I'm a musician and I play Yuka, who is a half-elf druid, lives in the woods, raised by deities and animals. Fun fact about Yuka, last week she died twice.
No. She went unconscious.
Fun fact about Yuka, last week she dropped to 0 HP or lower twice.
And I am May. I am self-proclaimed environmentalist, and I am playing Fig, who is a self-proclaimed historian, mostly conspiracy theorist, and I'm a half-orc cleric who helped heal Yuka twice. And yeah, that's. And then I tried to shoot some things, didn't quite work out, and then I axed some things, and that one worked out.
And last but certainly not least, yeah.
Yeah. I'm Rose. I play Chamomile, the sculptor, purple tiefling looking person, who last session spent most of the time vibing as a tiger, which was a creature no one else had seen before, which they did not realize.
So, for the DM, as an aside,
yeah.
Now that Cam and Yuka have seen each other in their wild-shaped forms, does that mean that Cam can now transform into a panther and Yuka can now transform into a tiger?
Well, see, that's a really interesting question here. I am going to say that a single combat is not enough time for you to fully grasp how an animal works. However, maybe after seeing it a couple more times, you would be able to.
You win this round.
Is it rule of threes here? Rule of threes?
Oh, do we want... I like rule of threes. I do like rule of threes.
Rule of threes is a fine compromise. I'll take it.
Yes, Rose, you had a question.
Well, no, it doesn't matter. I just had a comment that made no sense.
Fair enough. So I did hear some pregame chatter actually while we were in our stream starting soon screen that May had a question for me.
Did, because so, like, I know I've played with you as a DM before, and most of the time between sessions we either had like a short rest or a long rest, and I was wondering if that was going to continue in this campaign. One, because I'd like some health back. We're babies right now. We're so small. So this is more of a plea than anything.
Look, just because you're level 2s doesn't mean you're babies. I will say, however...
But yeah, I'd like a short rest or a long rest.
Thank you. I hear that the council has accepted your submission. However, we are picking up literally immediately after the combat ended last session. So if you want to take a short rest in game, you will have to tell me you were taking a short rest in game. This might not be true for every single session, but for this one, because it was sort of cut off very quickly, we're going to say there was no rest in between.
That's what I was afraid of.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Fine.
So.
Okay.
If everyone is ready, then we will jump straight back into where we were. So, where we last left our group of adventurers, they had been asked by one Vasil, a bachelor of medicine, to go and retrieve some notes from a manor just inside of the woods outside of the dwarven city of Ironcliff. Our wonderful adventurers got to these ruins. These are, of course, the woods where the woods that Yuka calls home. And this was a manor that Yuka had never approached before, nor even knew existed. As soon as they show up, they realize that this manor house has been in ruins for quite some time. The stone walls are crumbling, vines growing along the walls and where the walls used to be. and they stumbled upon two bandits who were making camp inside of this ruined abode. They fought these two bandits quite valiantly, with all four of them. One of the current party members, Throgyn, a Kenku artificer, has recently scampered off somewhere, likely looking for gold or loot or something to pick up, as the rest of the party is joined inside the basement of this manor house, where they had just finished battle with quite a strange-looking foe. There is no corpse left on the ground from the battle they just experienced. Rather, the hulking, canine-like figure with two heads, one head of which was a standard dog's head, and the other which was a white dragonborn's head. That entire creature melted into goo and just sort of coalesced in a puddle on the floor after their combat. So, my dear players, what would you like to do?
I will admit, I do recall part of a dragonborn corpse on the ground.
Yes,
from last
the
session.
dragonborn corpse did remain. That is correct, Fig. Thank you.
Okay.
So there's the corpse of a dragonborn woman on the floor, covered in,
Mhm.
again, this slimy, goo-like substance. She is middle-aged, maybe even a little bit past middle-aged, dressed in what is very clearly nobles, like, working clothes. It's the clothes of somebody who their work consists of, like, writing or talking to important people.
Yeah, I see this now corpse on the ground, and I'm like, oh, I guess I can't return the research to the owner of this place. That's not great. Hey Cam, there's a corpse in here, but there's no more dog.
Okay.
They're
Given
keeping
that
the door open right now, right?
Just
Yeah,
letting them
but
know.
I'm pretty sure I do have a quarterstaff, so I'm just gonna see if I can find out how I found it again.
It should be in your
What I have.
inventory, but I do believe you
Yeah,
have
but
a
if I-
staff because you're a druid. So you could
I do have
absolutely...
a quarterstaff. Yeah, I'm gonna use that to just hit the jacket in place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feeling a bit stupid. I didn't think about this before, but you know what? We roll with the punches,
It happens.
and I just climb down the stairs. Like, yes, dog, tell. I didn't see anything. I just heard noises of pain. So
Yeah, so Cam, you're able
What was
to
our light
easily
source
prop
down?
open this wine cellar door with your quarterstaff so it won't
Mhm.
close. Currently, your lighting is coming from two different locations. The first is a small, like, glowing bulb that Throgyn, your bird compatriot, was holding. And you see that he's still got it, like, shoved in one of his pockets while he's, like, scrabbling through this old wine cupboard, trying to look for any valuables. There is also currently a little bit of light coming from Cam themselves. Cam had cast some sort of spell on yourself. I forget what it was last session. To give...
No. I just had produce flame, so I dropped the flame.
That is right. You have produce flame, which is casting some light from outside where the flame was left, as well as there is a small sconce on the wall, which is giving off a tiny amount of light. And that is, so where you're standing right now is coming down the stairs. You're in a small stone area. You have a wine cupboard to the right of the door, and a curved stone wall to your left. In front of you, you see what looks like a chimney. There is a fireplace at the bottom. This is likely the heating source for this building. And there is a, like, small doorway-looking thing where you can see a sconce through it with a wooden floor and a very plush red rug on the ground. This is the side of the basement where the death dog originally attacked from when Throgyn tried to go and examine it.
Well, that looks like the X marks the spot.
Just maybe. Anybody? Can you, like, sense, like, you guys sense that there was some, like, weird shit that was in the basement? Do you know if this is the only weird shit in the basement?
That's a great question. Can let's see. Can Yuka roll a perception check or any other kind of like survival check to see if there's anything else that might be down here and mean us harm?
Yeah, a perception check would be able to tell you if there's anything else in this basement.
Okay, we're gonna have to roll that at disadvantage
Why at
because she's
disadvantage?
poisoned.
Yes.
Can I also do?
Fun fact, you actually are not going to get disadvantage from this poison.
Okay, so then we'll actually take the other roll, which was a 13 on the die. So that
is
gets
fair.
Yuka a 15.
Yeah, well, the 15,
Well,
just for chat's info.
Never mind. Cam knows everything. Yuka is just here as backup.
So, for chat's information, last session you did get poisoned. Yuka, you and Throgyn both got poisoned. This poison is going to be functioning a little bit differently because I do recognize you guys are level 2 characters. You are not going to be receiving disadvantage on your ability checks from this. You have also, will note, you have not received any damage from this poison yet. Cam and Yuka. So Yuka, I'm going to start with what you know. Cam, you also know all of this, and then I will tell you what you know additionally. So, with a 15, you listen in through this room, and you are going to hear, luckily, silence. You don't hear any more like nails on the floor or any sort of scrabbling or breathing that would be indicative of another creature in this basement. You notice that the sconce on the wall, it looks like you could take the torch out of it if you wanted to use that to look around. But right now, Yuka, would believe that anything, like any other living creatures, would be more likely to come from outside of the basement than within it. Chamomile.
Okay.
Cam, you have extra information on that at 20, of course you do. You are also able to hear a little bit of running water. It's very, very faint and it echoes quite a bit. You would assume that there is some sort of well or some sort of tunnel into like an underground river in this basement. And you hear a slight clicking. It's nothing that would denote a living creature. Cam, you have actually heard this sound before in your mother's home plane. This is a sound that you would have recognized in a lot of the businesses there, especially businesses that operated on less than legal means with a lot of magic. And I can send you like a direct message about that if you want more information.
Yes, absolutely.
Speaking of magic, I figured that I was just gonna do like if I could sense any magic-y things, if I could roll for an Arcana.
Fig, you can absolutely roll for Arcana. Turns out I can't actually send you private messages in Foundry, so I'm just going to tell you out loud. Chamomile, you would have recognized this in a lot of the casinos.
Huh.
Oh, so Fig. So Fig, you are, first of all, first nat 1 of the session, let's go. Fig, you are very, very confident that there is absolutely no magic left in this basement.
I'm just gonna walk around poking at stuff.
That's fair.
Before you go poke at stuff, like please do. I won't stop you. But this was like a candle holder thing, right? Torch thing.
Yep.
The sconce, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I have a flame like in my hand, so I'm just gonna heat up the torch and then like I know I'm hearing a clicking. I recognize it as something mechanical, likely.
From somewhere over here, if I can ping it. Oh, please let me ping the Foundry.
I can see your name thingy.
Well, it's from right about here.
Okay. So I'm telling them I can hear something mechanical coming from like around the corner. So I don't know what it is, but it could be bad. And then I just walk into the space. I am still holding the flame, so if you could make me
I can
a light
absolutely
again.
get you a light. I'm just gonna throw it in here. How's that sound? How's that sound, Cam? So.
Aha! I have light. Oh, there's a well. What a surprise!
Whoa! So yeah, so you walk into the space, and the first thing you notice is that this floor, again, it's very nice wood. You do notice that there's still some wear and tear down here, though it is a lot less wear and tear than you found upstairs in the ground floor of this manor. You see on the far side of the room from you that there is this stone well, and yeah, walking closer, Cam, you are very, very confident that this well leads down into some sort of underground river. You also see that there's like the little wooden frame and the bucket there. It looks pretty standard, although it is a bit strange that the well would be found inside of a manor house rather than outside somewhere. You notice as well that on the base of the well, there is a skeleton present. And this is a skeleton that matches the general build of the white dragonborn lady whose corpse fell out of the death dog, with the one difference of this skeleton looks smaller and lither, and is currently sat in the middle of a very clearly some sort of arcane circle that has been drawn on the ground around this skeleton.
In the well.
Yes.
Okay.
I have so many
All I'm
questions.
thinking about right now is the Mines of Moria. Don't touch the skeleton. Don't touch it.
First of all, could Yuka please have a bioluminescent glowing mushroom as a little torch in her hand?
How are you
As
going
a light
to get this
source?
little mushroom?
There wasn't that last time.
Yes, but I need Yuka to tell me which resource she is using, even if the resource is Druidcraft.
Druidcraft.
Okay, cheers. Yeah, you can have a little mushroom.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, you can enter the room, by the way. While I'm just looking into the well, very confused.
She just wanted another light source when we walk away from Big. She is going to... collides with a wall. I don't want to collide with a wall.
You gotta go around. You gotta go around. Foundry doesn't let you go through walls. Yeah, so
Well, that
Cam,
sounds
if you
fair.
are looking over at this little well while your friends come around, looking down the well, it is dark.
Yeah.
Even with your flame, you can only see about 30 foot down, and then it starts getting really dark and really murky. Yeah, the inside of the well doesn't really strike you as something super useful. Do you want me to continue describing the rest of the room?
Well, I'm confused about the well because in it is the skeleton and the circle, but there was also water noise coming from it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, is the circle on the bottom of the well, or is it like on the wall of the well? Or
I see.
I'm a little confused.
No, that is completely fair. I have the dragonborn skeleton is resting against the outside wall of the well.
Oh, okay. Yes, I thought they were in there. Yeah,
No,
this makes way more sense.
Fine. Yeah, so that is what you see over
Yeah,
there.
I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna leave the well. I'm gonna point towards the wall that's ticking. I'm like, that's the ticking wall. No touchy.
This is the ticking wall. As you point to
Is
the ticking
Yuka
wall,
able to
go ahead.
continue?
Oh, okay.
No, you finish the thought. I want to hear it.
As you point at the ticking wall, you notice that it is a full wall-to-ceiling bookshelf, and it is stacked full of tomes of various knowledge. Yuka can, because you two are in the main room, you would be able to read the spines of these. Fig, you could also read the spines very easily if you were to come into this room. They are all different types of necromancy books. You have things in here from like alchemical potions causing death, to Philosopher's Stone research, to Necromancy 101, how to raise the dead. It's just all on this wall, all in here. You see that there's a couple of spaces where books have very clearly been taken out and like put back in a hurry or not put back at all. But again, this is a very, very complete library of somebody who clearly practiced the subject matter. You also see on the little bit of the curved wall that you can see here, there is a display case hanging. And inside of the display case hangs a single, like, claymore-style broadsword, which is incredibly rusty. So the blade of this broadsword is almost completely covered in rust, eaten through. but you notice that both the hilt and the pommel are untouched by time, much like the rest of this basement.
Fig's hands like, I want to. It's
Anyway.
Without
Look,
getting closer, you're like a kid in a candy shop right now. It's so lovely.
Fig. Also, you should probably come into the room if you're gonna have seen this.
I wanted to poke the body. Anyway.
Yeah, you can poke the
before
body. You want to poke
Fig-
the body?
Before
I'll
Fig
investigate,
pokes the
yeah.
body, can
Fig's
you
poked the body
figure out
already.
what the source of the water underneath is?
First of all, Fig's already poked the body because he rolled a number.
God damn it, Fig.
You could roll survival. Yuka, you may roll survival if you want to identify the source
Thank
of the
you.
water. So Fig,
We've already touched the body a lot by like attacking it, so
this is true. Fig, you touch the body and you notice that this corpse is fresh. It seems that whatever sort of connection, whatever sort of alchemical combination it had with the hound has maintained the time of death. So basically, the body has not decomposed at all while it has been inside the dog. You notice that this is a creature that very clearly had some sort of magical ability. You see like dark purple and black veins crawling up her hands that are visible through the scales. It gives you the vibe of some sort of corruption or some sort of spell that might have backfired onto her. Yuka.
just normal
What?
wizard things.
Fig, I should also mention you find nothing in her pockets of note. You do
I
have-
was looting the body. Yes,
I
yes,
did
you are
assume
correct.
you were looting the body, yes. You find nothing in her pockets of note. You see that there's like a quill, a pot of ink. You do notice one thing, which is a small piece of parchment that has a drawing on it of two dragonborn women. The first one looks very much like the body you are interacting with here. The other one is, again, still a white dragonborn, but a little bit smaller, a little bit lither. And this is a drawing that looks not childlike in the sense of a toddler drew it, but rather childlike in the sense of it was drawn for a family member, and likely an older family member. And it says on the bottom, Mara, in quite a nice script. Yuka, with
Anyway.
a 17, you would be able to identify that there is definitely a river flowing under this manor house. And that is likely what the well leads to.
Is it the river that she's familiar with that already cuts through the forest, or is this a different water source that she's not familiar with?
Let me check the map. Let me check the world map. No, so this would not be quote unquote the river that cuts through the forest. That one you would know is on actually the other side of the forest from where you are right now. Rather, this is going to be likely one of the smaller tributaries, or possibly you have Yuka, you would have heard rumors. Fig, you have been there in person. Cam, you have likely heard like credible stories about this. There is another city that is built underground. So Ironcliff, which you are all from, or you all minus Yuka are from, is a city built into a mountain, built into a seaside cliff. There is another city that is underground that you both know of called Buzzwings, which is a city by and large filled with gnomes and very focused on magical tinkering and art and this new science thing. You do know, have a couple of freshwater rivers that run very close to the city. So this could be a tributary of that river.
Interesting. Is there any like live animal or plant in this subsection of the river that she can detect from where she is?
So the river is going to be about 60 to 70 feet below the house.
Okay.
I think Yuka, you would assume that there is definitely something down there. I don't think you have enough like visual or auditory senses to be able to identify anything.
Sure. Huh.
Yeah.
Strange.
Again, you still hear that tick, 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 tick coming from the bookcase.
Yes,
Do we
that's
think
a
there is
well.
an explosive behind this bookcase?
No. You know why? Because if there is a chance of it going off, what happens to the books? Anyway.
Perhaps the knowledge dies with the homeowner.
I mean, she was... from what I can tell, this was more of a necromancy thing, so I don't think that would be the issue. Ooh, that's a dead person as well. Wonderful. I'm looking at the well.
That is in fact a dead person, Fig. In fact, they look very similar to that other Dragonborn in that drawing you found.
Yeah.
Is this a relative?
Oh, I will say, Fig, by the way,
likely.
now that you have seen the necromancy circle on the ground, you're pretty sure there was magic in this basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm figuring that out.
Okay.
I love him.
Anyway, gotcha.
Can I walk past the bookshelf listening for where the ticking is coming from, like on the wall or up or low?
Yeah,
Whatever.
absolutely. So as you walk past the bookshelf, I'm just going to move you a little bit closer to the bookshelf. Right that middle square that you were in, right here is where it's the strongest, left to right. And you notice that the ticking noise is coming from... Cam, you're a little bit on the shorter side, right?
Yeah, I'm like
Between the two of us.
5'3" I think.
Okay. Cam, it would
I
be
think-
coming from about,
yeah.
chest height on you. Fig, this would be about waist height on you, for reference.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a
I would-
very small section, it's a very small contained tick. The closer that you've gotten to it, Cam, the more you think that it is something that is perceiving the outside world rather than something that is reacting to something else.
Yuka had a thought. Anyway, or Sunny had a thought.
No, Sunny had a thought. Is this a Geiger counter?
Just because we watch Fallout does not mean this is a Geiger counter.
It's making a ticking noise and detecting the outside. What is a scientist supposed to think?
That is fair. That is fair.
Okay, so
Yuka would not know what that is.
what books are on that shelf?
Where the ticking noise is coming from. You are
Yeah,
going to
any
see...
book that stands out more than the other ones.
So what you're going to see on this shelf, and I will have you roll me a little perception check if you can. What you're going to see on this shelf are books that have the titles of 30 Ways to Resurrect Your Rat. You have Army Building for Wizards. You have Undead Cats, Dogs, and Fleas. What to Know When You Bring Back a Pet. And you have Long Lost Loves, The Story of Necromancy Through the Ages.
Okay.
Why do I get the feeling they weren't trying to resurrect the pet?
Before you touch anything, can I see the... So you said there was a circle with the smaller dragonborn.
Yes.
Are there, runes or anything with that?
There
or is
are runes in there. You notice that it is a circle that consists of two sort of outer circles, but then runes between them, along with a very intricate, sigil drawn in the center.
Okay.
There's also small bowls, or what look to be small ash piles, around on the runes between the two outer circles, that look to have been used up or utilized in this spell in some way.
Can I ask how many bowls and how many there
You can. There's 7.
Is it relevant? Doesn't
There's
matter.
15. No.
Is the do you want me to roll for something to recognize
Roll
what they
Arcana,
are?
please. Yeah.
Is that better than before? It is.
So,
Great.
Cam, with a 17 on perception, you would notice that the book Long Lost Loves doesn't appear to be you don't appear to be able to remove it from the bookcase. Fig. With an 18 on Arcana, you're going to notice that a lot of these runes are runes very standardly used in resurrection rituals. As somebody who has come from a clerical background, you would know the spell True Resurrection does exist and utilizes some runes that are very similar to this. You do notice, however, that there are a bunch of differences, mostly in the way that it is handling souls and the physical form. So the true resurrection spell tends to have to go through a way of finding the physical body of the soul, because most of the times you can't just put a soul into a dead body, as it would just kill the soul again. You notice that in this spell, it's not gone through that same process that clerics would have gone through to resurrect the body. Rather, it's pumping through a lot of necromancy magic, and it actually appeared to be trying to transfer over life essence from a different host. Reading a bit closer, you were able to see that this host had been a family pet.
And I'm just like, I don't know if I see any diamonds in this. This is interesting. That's the one thing I know about that spell. Anyway.
That is fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just so that you two know, yeah, they definitely yeah, this wizards into some death magic, as you two can probably tell. It looked like they were trying to do a type of resurrection. I don't know if they did succeed in what they wanted to do or not.
There's a body in the circle. I'm assuming they failed.
Well, that.
But there wouldn't be a circle in the body in the circle if they succeeded, right?
Well, if it was like life from one thing to another, maybe the middle one was what they were killing to save something else. I don't. It's a little iffy.
Perhaps an exchange of life for a life.
Mm-hmm.
And the vessel was a domestic house pet.
I don't know how domestic that guy was, but yeah, sure.
It didn't look like a wild dog or
No.
like a wolf, right? Like it looked like
looked
a
like a
hunting
dog.
It's a hunting dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
You will know a wild dog when you see one, Fig. I'd be happy to introduce you.
I'm good. Thank you, Lady Yuka.
To what end? Do we believe that the master of this house was ill? And perhaps this was a last-ditch attempt to make them well, or give them a second chance at life?
It could have just been the experiment or their research that they wanted to see fulfilled. Cam, do you have anything? Do you see anything? Ooh, I wonder if there's a journal. Do you see a journal? I want to go to the bookshelf.
You can absolutely go to the bookshelf. You see Cam
So
looking
I'm just-
very intently at this one book, Long Lost Loves.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and grab it again. Like maybe I just didn't get enough grip on it.
Yeah, so as you grab it and you try and pull it towards you,
Yeah.
You will actually notice that it sort of tilts on its hinges, and then the clicking noise stops as a door begins to slide open in front of you.
Da-da-da-da.
Da-da-da-da. I hope that I have now opened a door for you guys and you can see inside.
Yes, I can see.
Haha.
I'm also immediately
Beautiful,
just entering.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful
So,
door.
You see that there is actually another room behind this bookcase. Chamomile, as you immediately step in, I'm going to need you to roll me a dexterity saving throw. This is a joke.
Yeah,
Don't
I
actually
figured.
do that. Don't actually do that. This is a joke.
I would have been okay with it. I would have deserved it.
It's so seriously.
That's sort of deserved, though.
So, Chamomile, as you immediately step into this room, you see two things. The first is to your right, there is another bookshelf. This one contains a lot of various potion bottles with different types of compounds inside of them. Chamomile, you don't recognize a bunch of these, though you've seen very similar things inside Throgyn's alchemy kit. You also see that there is the entire top shelf is devoted to journals. Fig, you can see this through the door. Chamomile, to your left, you see that there is a large wooden chest that has no lock on it.
This is enough.
Yeah, I don't know alchemy. That sounds like a Throgyn problem. And the journals, I don't like reading. That's a fake problem. I'm just gonna like poke at the chest and try and see if if it's stuck or if it opens easily.
You're able to just sort of grab the lid and open it. It doesn't seem like there's any rust or any age on this chest at all. And inside, you are going to see a few different things. The first thing that you are going to see is a stack of loosely bound papers with the name Vasil Vitale written on the top of them. With
Hey.
the title of...
I know this guy.
Unfortunately, you know this guy. With the title An Exploration into Medicine. You are also going to see one journal, which looks like a diary of some sort, written by Mariana, as well as a set of like toys. One of them you see is a string instrument that's very clearly been made for smaller hands, and another one is a small plush dog.
Oh. Can I assume that as soon as the journals were within line of sight of Fig just walks in behind me?
Great question, ask
I
Fig.
I tried, but the room's real small. At least on the map, it is.
It is. The room is only about 5 foot wide by 15 foot long. You two could be in the room at the same time, but it will be tight.
Yeah.
Well, I just take the paper and the journal and go, here you go, nerd.
Thank you. Cam, you understand me? Thank you.
Fig, you may add Vasil's research and Mariana's diary into your inventory.
I'm just gonna pick up the stuffed doll, like dog, and the violin.
Do we
Do they
gain?
look-
Do we gain an idea of how Vasil's research ended up here? Did he have somebody deliver it to Mariana or Mara?
You would need to give me some sort of roll for that.
Investigation, maybe?
Investigation
I
is
start
not
flipping through
going
the
to help
diary,
you here.
maybe.
First of all, you can absolutely
Roll
open up
for
the diary
logic.
if you would like to open up the diary.
Insight?
Yuka, I think I want to give you just like an insight or a straight intelligence check.
May I use insight?
Yes, it will tell you different information.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm okay with this. 18.
That's pretty good. So, Yuka, you would notice that because this is research that is now in this secret room, along with it doesn't look injured at all, you would assume that this is here on purpose, whether that is because Vasil was here himself or because Vasil had sent a copy to the lady of the house, you do not know. But you are very certain that it was not stolen or anything like that. Fig,
Right.
if you open up the journal, if you open up the diary, you
I
notice...
am going to start from the back.
So,
To let you know.
First of all, I need to stress to you that the back like eighth of this book is empty.
Yep.
And then from there, if you keep going to the last like written in page, you will see that it is
Last dated entry. Yes.
If you go to the last dated entry, you will see that it is dated about 24 years ago, 25 years ago, written by a Mara. And it is an entry about how she knows that her time is going to be up soon. She has felt herself getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and she's not sure that she'll be able to make it through the night. My older sister, Talia, she's been worried about me, and I'm concerned that after my death she might spiral a bit more than she has been. While she is a
Older
very
sister,
talented
you
mage.
said?
Older sister, yes.
Yep.
While she is a very talented mage, I've noticed that with her studies, her mental faculties have been declining. And I can only hope she doesn't do anything rash.
Well, that went well.
Yeah,
Dramatic irony.
that's what it is.
Yeah. Older, we're thinking bigger. Yes. Yes.
Yes, that would make sense.
Younger.
That is how
Smaller,
dragons work. That is how dragons
sometimes.
work.
Fig, if it is
Double checking.
helpful, dragonborns typically mature as crocodilians do, growing in
Yes.
size and scale as they become
Yes,
older.
I really should have recalled that. Anyway.
Yes, this is free. This is free information.
Okay, so I think I've got a pretty good hypothesis for what happened here. We're talking
Nerd.
older sister, which would be dog dragonborn, was trying to re-up younger sister in circle, maybe with the life of said dog, but then somehow meshed them instead of transfer. That's where I'm at right now. Or maybe it wasn't enough and, things backfire. Wizards. Anyway.
Unfortunately, outside of fertility rituals, I will not be much help, as necromancy is not my trade of speciality.
Yeah, it's sort of the when you don't talk about, so it's not that known.
What to
So
do
while
about
the
this?
while the nerd is nerding out and
Yeah.
Yuka's just talking about how dragonborns age, is there anything that like stands out to me about the toys? Because apparently, like I don't know this yet, but they've been locked in this box for like a while. So
Yeah, I mean, as far as the toys look, the small violin very clearly hasn't been played in ages. Like, you can see the wood starting to crack a little bit from just lack of care. But it doesn't look like it was anything that happened while it was in this chest. The toys look quite clearly just like toys. They look like they were maybe from a child and hadn't been played with for years before they were put away.
okay, I'm gonna take the stuffed dog. I don't know how to play a violin. But then I'm gonna look at the alchemy stuff.
Yeah. So you move over to the
And
cupboard on the other side of the room.
Yeah. And I just want to see what things look like the things Throgyn already has. Like, I'm assuming there's stuff there that I've definitely not seen in Throgyn's bag,
There
but
is.
also stuff I definitely have seen.
Can you give me an Arcana check?
I can try.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, May, I have given you and Fig a stack of papers, which was the bachelor's notes. So,
Right.
Cam,
You've given it to Fake twice in the thing.
Yes, I did fix that. It's only in the inventory sheet once. So, Cam, as you look at this cabinet, you are able to identify a couple of things. For example, you see a small vial of it looks like a dust, but it's very circular, and it's a light ashy gray. You know that Throgyn has that. You've seen Throgyn with that one. Everything else on this shelf, you don't know what it is. This isn't your expertise.
No. Did you need more journals?
Me, I mean, this one's pretty good. I wouldn't. It's like this is the pros and cons of being a book lover, but also having to move places. Books are heavy.
Yeah.
That is the dilemma. So I'll probably stay with this one, probably the elder or younger sisters, but I'll take a quick look at like some of the early ones and maybe some of the later ones. But I'm not going to bring any of them with me.
So.
Okay, so
Oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I want to definitely grab the vial of stuff that Feather already has. Like, if they have it, that means they probably use it. So I can bargain with them to not be annoying. And I'm also gonna grab something that looks just shiny or iridescent or something pretty. And it is. I don't
Sure.
care. I just have a second file of something.
Can you roll me a flat d20?
I'm pretty sure I can.
Slash R1d20.
We'll be right back.
Oh, Yuka's gone. Yeah, you absolutely grab some things. Please write down that you have alchemy 16.
Inventory.
And I will figure out what you have picked up at a later date. So,
That's fair. How do I add something?
there's a little plus mark in the bottom right-hand corner of the character sheet. If you click on that...
Oh yeah, I can't. I couldn't see that because your faces are all over it.
Ah, I see. Well, let me be more in the way then. No. Fig, if you go through the journals on the alchemy shelf, you will notice that they appear to be research notes. This, you notice whoever was taking these notes, first of all, their name is Thalia. And the second thing is that they are taking notes a lot more like an alchemist would take notes than as a wizard would take notes. You see that it's a touch more specific. It's a touch more like, I did this many times and these were the differences in each result. And the initial tests are quite standard for what you would expect from a necromancer. They're, okay, I tried to give myself just a little bit more vigor. And it worked, but only for 5 minutes. And then like, okay, so I can give myself more vigor. Can I give like this rat a little bit more vigor? And it worked, only for about 5 minutes. Okay, so if that's the case, can I take some of the vigor away from this rat? And it worked, and the rat died. And these are a lot of the earlier experiments. As you switch over to the later journal experiments, you're going to start seeing things like this, I found a small fox in the woods, killed it on the hunt, and then I was able to bring it back to life. However, it retained a very clearly undead look, a very clearly undead appearance. Can we change that so that it looks like it's alive? And then you would see a bunch of experiments regarding that.
Are there other undead animals in my woods?
Yuka, you're not reading these journals.
God damn!
I would like to, this might not be, it's sort of if she had connected anything before, and it's like, if while one life is alive, the other one's also alive, but then if one cuts out, do the others also cut out? Mostly, maybe, for Yuka's question, just be like...
The only thing that you would see that is similar to that question, Fig, is that at one point the caster Talia tried to basically, 2 rats killed 1 rat and tried to bring that rat back to life.
Yep.
You see that Talia did end up succeeding in that she noticed if she stole the life energy from a secondary rat, from a living rat, she was able to transfer that into the rat she was trying to resurrect to prevent the body from taking on an undead appearance. That is the only thing you see that is related to like transfer of life.
Yep.
It did kill the living rat to bring back the dead one.
Yep. Yeah, just if you guys wanted to know, yeah, I'd probably say this was a necromancer slash alchemist that for how long they've sort of were just like alone doing experiments in a basement, but it definitely wasn't healthy. Yeah, that's why there's like peers. Like none of this seems to be like peer reviewed or anything. So
Fig, you are also holding a stack of medical papers.
yeah, I'm getting there. We'll see if that's maybe what Vitaly is maybe trying to do here, but this has been going on for a while. So I don't know if maybe anybody else that knew this family would have information about these two Dragonborn, or
We ought to ask our employer.
yes, that would probably be the main thing. But this was a pretty big place, probably back in its heyday. I'm guessing some other people would also know the two of them.
In which case, I imagine they'll be loath to talk about that which is best not discussed in polite company. As you said, necromancy is not as openly discussed as other elements of magic or schools of wizardry.
Yeah, but it's also if you don't talk about the taboo, then it keeps happening. So it's a tough position to be in, but knowledge that's hidden away is sometimes knowledge that gets sort of what is it, corrupted as it may be.
Shall we make our way back, or is there more to find here, do you think?
Could everyone give me a perception check?
I was going to say, I for one do not want to swim in any rivers, but we'll see.
Fig is voting against the well. Good to know.
Yuka is going to swan dive into the well.
Go ahead. Roll me athletics.
No.
Straight perception, yeah?
Yes, straight perception. All right. Thank you, Yuka. Thank you, Fig.
I'm just back to looking at the books.
Mm-hmm.
If there's another book that's not necromancy, but still something.
Could you roll me perception, please?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am on my way.
Thank you.
I have to do all the tabs.
So, Fig, you are fairly confident that you have got everything in this basement that you were here for. Like, you've got the research papers in your hand, you've got Mariana's diary, which was an extra fun bonus. You know, you're not needing anything else. You don't need toys, you don't need a sword, you're fine.
We forgot about this.
Cam, you are looking at this bookshelf, and yeah, everything on this bookshelf is necromancy related. You're not seeing anything else that looks out of place. A lot of it seems very dry, very scientific, or very, I guess, magically inclined. It's nothing out of the ordinary, at least for this bookshelf. Yuka, with a 10, you are fairly confident that there is a river below this room, and nothing else really of interest inside.
Yeah, I'm just really investigating the papers that, like, I know it might, I'm like, it's sort of dim light here, and I'm like squinting a bit. I'm just really focused in on that.
That's fair.
Can I try to see what's going on with that sword before we go?
Yeah, so the sword, again, is on this half-curved wall right here. It's hanging on the wall. You see it's in a fairly, like, it's in a nice wooden frame, the like, plush velour behind it. It's hung horizontally. Or, sorry, it's hung vertically with the blade pointed downwards. And the blade itself is covered in rust. Like, it's not been, it looks like it hasn't been cared for in the slightest. The thing that strikes you as weird about this Yuka is that the pommel and the hilt are spotless. It is a claymore-style broadsword with a small, like, ruby red gem at the base of the hilt.
Could I try a history check to see if I know anything else, or like anything related to the family, anything related to like the area and the motifs of the design?
You can.
It's like, yeah, Fig just walked right past a sword.
To be fair, Fig got what Fig wanted. Yuka, You recognize that this is a sword. It looks like it was made in Gurünk. From the sword types you've seen, it looks to be of either standard dragonborn or dwarven make. The thing is, most people you've seen with swords like these have been like guardsmen, part of the Gurunk army, part of the Gurunk navy, or other like. It's not got anything that necessarily stands out to you as unique.
Like it's not got a jeweled hilt or anything, right? There's nothing in the crossbar.
There is a single red jewel at the base of the hilt.
Does she know what it is?
So I'm getting there. The jewel itself you would not be able to identify. Only being able to identify that it is something that is red, possibly ruby, possibly carnelian. However, the grip itself, you would notice is made from leather. And being somebody who has worked with leather for an extended amount of time, you would notice that this leather is easily over 300 years old.
Will it last that long? This is
No.
May.
Nature check?
Nature check!
Allowed? Allowed? Okay, thank you.
Of course a nature check is allowed.
Sorry.
You're gonna
I
have to
wasn't
tell me
sure
what
if I was...
find out with this nature check, though.
She's trying to figure out what the differential is between the quality and agelessness of the metal and the leather, knowing that those will degrade over time without magical interference, and why the rust is normal on the blade instead of the hilt.
Okay, yes. Yuka?
She doesn't know shit.
Yuka, that leather?
She doesn't know shit.
That leather is better than the shoes Yosef gave you.
With all of her 2 hit points, she's gonna touch that hilt. She's gonna touch the leather, and not any of the metal, only the leather.
It sure feels like leather.
I turn over to Yuka. Do you use a sword?
No. It just feels like normal leather. There's like nothing
like normal
abnormal
leather.
about it.
No, it's a little bit like tacky. Like they've put some sort of conditioner on here that didn't quite get wiped off properly, but it feels like normal leather.
There's linseed oil. And nothing else that I can detect. Fig, do you know anything of this blade?
Sword?
It appears to be Baratara Navy or perhaps Army in make.
Yeah, that's... I can check. I mean,
Yeah, give
sort
me a
of
history
like...
check.
Just a history.
Yep, just a history.
Did you? I'm actually good at that. If I'm good at that. Am I good at that?
So Fig, you will know a little bit more than Yuka will because you've grown up in civilization. You would know that this is not a standard issue military sword for the modern day. While this does look very similar, it is mostly similar because it is a 2-handed claymore. The make and the model itself, you would see that there is slight... it's not like frivolity necessarily, but rather it is just expert craftsmanship that has gone into this, that has set this gem, that has wrapped this leather. It is very clearly a blade that was made with a lot of care and that was made with a lot of time poured into it. While it does look very standard in its general shape and its general model, you would assume that the way that with Yuka's information about the leather being as old as it is, you would recognize that this likely has some sort of magical property into it, especially if it is hung the way it is currently hung in this manor house. This sword was very clearly important enough to be put downstairs with the other items of value, and likely is going to be of historical importance due to that.
Perhaps we can wrap it and bring it with us.
Like, if you want a sword, sure. I mean, lots of old families sort of have, like, family swords or whatnot. It's pretty old. Maybe it's one of their I don't know, historic relatives. I don't know much about this family other than
Well,
these two.
I trust your scholastic integrity and your breadth of knowledge. If you believe that it is as
Connotation.
any other sword that you would typically find in a home of wealth, then it is of no importance to me. What I do wish to know is information from our contractor.
Yep, yes, me too. I mean, if you want the sword, everyone's dead here, so that's up to you.
It's dead here.
But I'm just saying. I like quickly walk up.
You notice that Throgyn is still like rummaging through various things that he's found. At this point, he's like followed you guys around and is looking at the alchemy cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
I think Yuka's just gonna go upstairs and hold the door open for her friends.
Are you taking the sword with you?
Friends. She's gonna leave it because she trusts Fig's judgment. It's not like she can do anything with it, so she is like, "That's cool. There's a sword in here that's old as shit and hasn't aged except in the blade. I'll just boop." She puts that in the same repository where she puts like library books that she's checked out from traveling like artists and troubadours and what have you, as like, there's a game that people in Civilization play. It is called chess. I know how to play it. I've never played it in my life.
Yes, of course. It goes next to the chess knowledge. Good.
It goes next to the chess and the blackjack knowledge with like things that aren't really relevant to her but she knows about.
Blackjack, you
There's
very
no need for-
specifically learned from a dryad.
She has swindled me out of all of my mushroom caps. I will not make the same mistake twice.
You never have mushroom caps again while playing blackjack.
I worked hard to find those chanterelles, and she is stealing the fruits of my labor.
Yeah,
I do not know how she is doing this.
I agree with Yuka, and I start going my way up.
Absolutely. You head back up to the main floor of the manor. Do you want to look around the floor of the manor anymore, or are you guys going to be on your way?
Yuka's gonna hold the door open for Cam and Throgyn, in case they're still looking for other stuff.
Throgyn will absolutely leave.
Yeah, Cam just wants to take one last look into the well because the well feels weirdly out of place given that it's underground.
Yeah, that's
historical manners, but yeah.
What are you trying to find from it?
I wanna just like the last journal on like the big shelf like there.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have like an empty bit of page?
It does.
Okay, I'm gonna tear out an empty page.
Okay.
I'm gonna set it on fire and just drop it in just to see if I see anything on the way down.
Okay, I had no idea where that was going. You drop this flaming page in, and you see that the inside of the well is fairly standard. You see that there's like moss and algae growing on the sides of it. You do notice that in one specific area, there are what look to be large claw marks scrabbling up the side.
Huh. Fun.
They never reach the top.
Oh, that's fair. But also people have left by now. So I'm just gonna also head back, just telling them about the claw marks I saw, but that unless anyone actively wants to figure out the fuck's going on, I'm not going in there.
That is fair.
Did Cam tell us about this?
I tell you as I leave. I can't exit.
That's all right.
The basement.
Sometimes the exiting is weird. I've learned that I should not make maps with single block wide doors.
Yeah.
Aha!
I'm
Okay.
still getting used to playing D&D that is not simply theater of the mind. So having to move around my piece like I'm playing Monopoly is a bit of a learning
Fun.
curve.
See, and this is
But,
why I really
yeah.
loved having Feather here last session, because Feather was just zooming around the maps. Like, I had to keep an eye on Feather to see what they were interacting with.
I'm like more focused on making eye contact with you because that's half the battle. It's like gambling.
No, that is fair. Yeah, you gotta check if I'm bluffing or not.
I need to look at you to know what you're going to do to us.
Well, I'm gonna poison you.
So it's still night, right?
Sorry?
Yeah,
It's still night.
we
Yes,
entered
it is
the
still night.
ruins in like
Okay, so
evening
I'm just
hours,
putting my
yeah.
flame back up.
Yep, I assumed so.
Okay.
So,
Are we heading back to Ironcliff?
Or it's investigate top of manor.
Yes.
up to you all.
Investigate?
I would like to
Investigate
do that,
these?
yes.
Alright, if you guys are going to investigate, I am just going to make something easier on all of us. It is still nighttime. I'm just going to turn daylight on so that you can see.
Thanks.
Oh my god! It's turning day!
It's turning day! Whoa!
That's a fun one.
And then I'm going to move you all over to the ground floor map. You can see the silly little cheats I did so that you guys could have a basement.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see. What?
Oh, you can't see?
No, I can see. There's just this, like, here, there's a dark spot for me. And I figured if I move my figure, it would be no longer dark, but it still is. But it doesn't matter.
That is fair. Okay,
Oh.
if you would please stop moving your figures, though, I'm about to skip you over to the other upstairs.
Get it. And okay,
Too
this
late.
is
Sorry.
I'm gonna
Yuka.
take my quarterstaff back, by the way.
Sorry!
Yes, you may take your quarterstaff back. Chamomile, when you take your quarterstaff back, the wine cellar door closes, but you also notice that the locking mechanism that was previously there is no longer present.
Did we figure out what was going on with these bandits? They were just there as scavengers, right? They heard it was abandoned and they came.
That's what
To
they
check it
claimed
out.
anyway.
and then they couldn't get the cellar unlocked because they were dumb. Anyway.
Is the guy that we let
Very
live?
specifically, they did not get the cellar unlocked because they did not want to deal with anything that was magical.
That's true. Yeah.
Did we still get the? So they were just scavengers.
Mm-hmm. Bandits. Yeah.
I'm saying nothing. You
I'm
interrogated
asking-
the bandit.
Yeah, I did interrogate the
Okay.
bandits. They were like
Okay.
just a little, like, you know, honor among thieves bandits. So they had like some connections, but not like conspiracy about, I don't know, burning down this house and stealing riches. Anyway.
I think does the bandit that we still have
No,
Where
that
is
bandit's
everyone?
gone.
is he gone?
That
Did he run
bandit
away?
is gone. He
So
ran
as you
away.
are looking through the
I can't
upstairs-
see anyone, by the way.
What do you mean you can't see anyone?
Okay.
I can only see my own figure.
Oh yes,
Okay.
of course. Give me 1 second.
It's
Ah, darkness!
becoming nighttime again.
It has always been nighttime.
It's true.
He turned the light off.
He turned the light off. Sorry, he's turning the light back on for you all. So as you walk out of the basement and round the corner, you see that the bandit that you had tied up previously is actually gone,
Mhm.
as is the rope that you had tied him with.
Yep.
My thing's wonky in what I can see.
Well, I
you
kind of-
might want to leave and rejoin the tabletop. That might fix it.
Yes, I'll do that. Be right back.
Yee. So you notice
He
the
can't
bandit
have
is
gone
gone.
far.
There is still a body there. There was a second gnome bandit that you had killed. You do notice as well that this gnome bandit's body that is still there has had the eyes closed on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I still can't see people, but that's okay.
Can I do one last
Hey, I
investigation of his
see-
body to find like thieves' cant or any kind of like map on him?
Yes, absolutely
I
you
can-
can.
Cam, what's up?
I could see Yuka for a second, but like the thing thinks there's way many more walls or something.
There's
Yeah.
a lot more walls than we think. They're like just like really destroyed walls that are hard
No,
to
but, like,
walk around with.
Hot.
Right now I can see you both, but I can't see this square.
Mm-hmm.
I can see this square, but I cannot see the square before that.
The walls are a bit weird in here. I will not lie. The manners a bit.
No,
weird.
don't worry about it.
Okay,
Okay, but
with an 18, if you were looking at this body, you were going to notice that first of all, Throgyn already went through its pockets.
Right.
There is no money. There are no weapons. There is.
She's looking
nothing.
at the flesh, the body, the like anything that would be like hidden to indicate like, is there soot that she knows is only from burning this particular tree or this particular brush that might like indicate a hideout? Like, where did this clown come from? And are there others in the woods?
So, as you were looking, Fig, when you were walking around, you will see the remains of a campfire that is over here. It is still lit and it is still burning.
Oh, really?
It is where the two bandits were initially located when you arrived. Yuka, as you were looking at like the skin on this bandit, you don't see much. The only like identifying feature you find is like a small stick and poke tattoo that like looks to be in the shape of a very, very rudimentary like smiling face, like smiling gnome face. It doesn't necessarily strike you as anything that is of significant like identification value. More it looks like something that like a young person did for fun. As for Thieves' Cant, you don't find any on the body. I will also reiterate that you are not proficient in Thieves' Cant. And it is meant to be a language that is hidden. As for anything else, the only thing of interest that you would find is that it looks like a small handkerchief that was previously on this body has been removed. Chamomile Fig, as you walk around the ground floor of this ruined manor house, you will see a lot of different things. So Chamomile, where you're standing right now, you would see an old table. It looks like it was made out of some sort of like pine wood. Is there, it's very clearly still in a state of disrepair. You can see where wood rot is starting to set in. And it looks like you are standing in what used to be a dining room of sorts. The rest of the house is fairly similar. There is the room where the campfire was found. There is an old bed. It looks like this used to be the master bedroom. There's a small dresser where if you were to go through it, you would notice that there is nothing of value left in it. Yeah. What are you guys looking for anything in specific? Would you like to roll me?
This was a chimney, right? Like assuming
Correct.
like location compared to the. Does it have like the fireplace bit here?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Chamomile,
so
there's also one in the dining room that you were standing in.
yeah, so I'm a kid in a farmer's family who wants to be able to hide shit. So I probably have stuffed something like up a chimney once.
Sure.
that sounds like a kid thing to do. Just play with fire, why not? So I just want to see if I stuffed something like hidden behind there,
If you
or like a loose stone or something.
If you reach your hand up into the chimney, you are going to notice that there is a single loose stone in the chimney that is down here next to you. If you choose to remove that stone and sort of stick your hand in behind it, you will find what feels like a small cloth-wrapped box.
Okay, so I just maneuver to take the box out.
You take the small box out, and you notice that it is, again, it's wrapped in this small cloth covered in soot. However, if you were to take the cloth off, you will notice that none of the soot has gotten onto the box itself. You also notice that it is locked with a tiny little key. You could roll me sleight of hand if you want to try and pick the lock. You could also roll me athletics if you want to try and break the box open.
Can I try and get like a long thin piece of stone and try and mold it to have like keys pop up.
Yeah, you have Mold Earth. I'll let you do that if you use the spell slot.
Mold Earth is a cantrip.
It's a cantrip. Then I will absolutely let you do that. So you can absolutely pick up you find a small stone that's fallen off the wall somewhere and are able to mold that into a small key. It will take you a few tries in order to get it the right shape for the lock itself.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, eventually you will be able to unlock and pop this box open. And you can see that there are 6 gold pieces inside.
6 what? Sorry?
6 gold pieces.
Okay.
Along with a small, what looks to be like pressed flour, and some very, very pretty but like mismatched glass beads.
Okay, so I'm gonna put the pressed flour in my herbalism kit, just see if there's like something I can squish it between so it doesn't get damaged.
Absolutely, you can.
And the glass beads are just gonna be loose in like a pouch that I probably have on me.
Sure.
And the gold's just gonna go with the gold. I found money, come on.
No, that's fair. Please
6.
add all those items to your character sheet if you want them to remain in your inventory.
DM, is this
And-
gold cursed?
Why are you asking me this question? Do you want it to be?
I'm the
That'd be
DM
funny.
ideas. We
So-
don't do that here.
I thought it would be funny.
As I've been left with the question of, is it cursed? I think I'm going to move into a short break, as that gives us a chance to grab some water and just take a breather. We will be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, and please hang around till then. Grab some snacks, grab some water, whatever you want to do. All right, see you guys in a bit. Back live. So.
Things work.
Oh no! Why am I frozen?
Things work again. Please.
I ended up
no,
frozen.
No.
Yeah, we're back.
Stuff to
We're
do.
back.
Wait,
I see us back.
and-
Okay. So,
Cool.
welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a lovely little break. We are about to continue this lovely game as my intrepid adventurers have found a small box with some money in it. Now, I know that there were some questions earlier this session about short rest and long rest, so would you guys like to do that?
I would like to rest once we're out of. I would say even maybe past said grounds. Let's get off said property.
Can Yuka lead them out of the woods and then they have a little rest just right at the foot?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay.
So,
Well, I also want to check the other, fireplace.
Oh, are there bedrooms
That-
on this floor? Too?
That was a bed.
there is a bedroom on this floor. Cam, if you check the other fireplace, you will notice nothing similar inside that one.
I want to check out the bedroom.
The bedroom is going to be this room back here.
Okay.
You notice that there is a fire in there that is ever so slowly burning out. That the two gnome bandits had set up.
Whoa, racist.
I know, I'm sorry.
You just assume that the bandits are goblins?
I'm sorry.
Check
I
your
saw it.
prejudices,
I'm
man.
sorry. Dude, I'm sorry. I'd like to formally apologize for my prejudices against goblin kind.
Don't offend my dad.
I'm so sorry to Cam's dad.
Wow, what the hell? We have a half goblin in the party. You need to be more sensitive to these things. Not that they'd ever tell us that.
You see that there is a bed. Again, it was very clearly a bed of, not necessarily a lord or anything like that, but at least somebody who was rich enough to have a forest house, a forest manor. It is in disrepair, just like the walls and the rest of this house is. And there is a single dresser that, if you open it up, there is nothing of value left in it. Everything
Can
is,
I check
of course,
under the-
being affected by wood rot and mold and damp.
Can I check under the mattress for any gold or notes of particular value?
Yes, you may. If you lift up the mattress, you will find that there used to be paper stored under here. Unfortunately,
But there aren't anymore.
Unfortunately, because it has been accessible to the elements, they have all started molding as they got wet.
Can she read any of it, or is it all washed away?
I am going to need an intelligence check from you if you're going to try and read any of it.
Okay. And then please go back to Cam when there's an answer.
The answer is there's nothing in that fireplace.
There's 15.
With a 15, you're going to be able to see that these were the writings of Talia. They're very specifically correspondences between Talia and one Vasil Vitale.
And what did they say?
Patience, Yuka. Come on.
There's a few different ones. The one on the top, and I'm going to have to make you make a dexterity saving throw if you ever want to flip over a page or look at a new page, just because of the fragile nature of these papers. The one on the top is a letter that discusses Vasil requesting the ability to stay at White Maw Manor for an extended period of time to work on his thesis. It is a letter from Vasil, where he is essentially just petitioning Lady White Maw to be able to stay, to be able to learn from her, interview with her, and basically have her sponsor him for a small amount of time.
And for clarification, Talia's the necromancer, not the alchemist, right?
She's the necromancer.
Or is it the opposite around?
slash
I'm pretty sure they're
alchemist.
There we go.
Okay.
The sister was
Gotcha.
the more magey.
The
Okay.
sister you don't
So
know much about because the sister died fairly young, in her early 20s.
Mariana or Talia?
Mariana.
Mariana, we don't know much about. Okay, that's what I thought. Is this letter dated?
Yes, it is going to be dated to... let's see, how old is the Bachelor? The Bachelor is in his early 30s, mid-30s? So we'll say that this is dated to about 15 years ago.
Okay. I would like to engage in that dexterity saving throw to flip it over and see if I can get another page, please.
Absolutely. That is going to be
Ha!
That is going to be high enough.
Ha!
You are able to very carefully peel this paper up. You see that there's nothing written on the back of it, but it has revealed another page beneath it. You notice that this is a response from Lady Whitemaw to Vasil Vitale, denoting that Lady Whitemaw was very interested in Vasil's research, very specifically Vasil's avoidance of natural death. Lady Whitemaw appears to have been reaching out to Vasil for the first time in this conversation and asking him to very kindly share any of his research that he is willing to share or any of his postulates that he would be willing to discuss with a fellow academic. It is in this letter that Lady Whitemaw formally invites Vasil to Whitemaw Manor, and likely what caused the response letter, which is dated just a few weeks later, where Vasil asks for sponsoring.
Okay. If she can, Yuka will copy this down on I don't know what she would have on her person. Probably just a piece of scratch paper or just whatever she's got on her person.
Yeah.
No, she carves it into rib bones real quick.
Absolutely, Yuka does. This is Yuka.
Okay, I've got it. And she returns to Cam and Fig to show them her findings.
Nice. Do you want to reveal another page?
Oh, if there are more pages, then yes, please.
There's a whole stack of papers.
I think she'll just call them all in then, because there's nothing in the other fireplace. You said?
No, there's nothing in the other fireplace.
Cam, did you want to look at anything else that's in that section of the room? Because I don't want to monopolize all the investigation time.
Not particularly. I think we saw all the obvious things, and the hidden things are going to be hard to find, especially in a ruin. Unless there's a floorboard that clearly looks a different color.
You can give me a perception check.
Okay, perception. Gimme.
You can give me a dex save if you want to reveal another page. Chamomile. You very, very carefully walk across all of the different floorboards that still exist in this home. A lot of them have been covered up with dirt at this point or are starting to rot through. And you notice that you do find 2 floorboards that are a little bit loose. And when you lift them up, you actually see that there is stone underneath them, which you would recognize as the ceiling of the basement you were just in. It looks like there is no room underneath the floor for any sort of hidden compartments. Yuka, with a 10, you begin to try and peel very carefully this letter off of the stack. And unfortunately, a whole bunch of the papers come up with it as just this soggy mess and mush.
Yeah.
And you have unfortunately destroyed the rest of the letters and papers that existed under the mattress.
Well, she has enough information to know that she personally hates Vasil Vitalis, so...
That's fair.
He's made a mockery of life and death in an effort to prolong something and mess with forces beyond his reckoning. And as a proponent of the life cycle, Yuka is not a fan of his anymore.
That is fair.
Not that she was much of one to begin with.
As a proponent of the life cycle. That's a great statement. I love that.
I do believe May introduced herself this session as a, a nature aficionado? An environmental aficionado?
No, environmentalist.
Yeah.
Self-proclaimed environmentalist.
There we go.
Hey, that's fair. Just because I've got a band camp does not make me a musician. I just gotta say, I am with enough confidence in my chest. May, you can be anything you want.
Good. Me just looking at my plants. Ooh. There's a good one, but I'm not going to bring it over. Anyway.
So, do you have anything else you would like to do in this manor house before you leave? As the stars are again cast overhead, a moon half full above you.
I'd like daylight to read the rest of this journal.
Was there like a second story or like
There is not a second
a
story in
ceiling?
this house. No, the ceiling is almost
Does this
completely
house-
gone at this point.
Okay, so there's no rafters left.
No.
Okay.
Cam,
In
you
that
were confident
case-
that you have checked every hidden location in a house.
Then I'm just gonna be disappointed by the lack of riches from a manor house.
That is fair. There were two guys who were
And
here
I
before
am-
you.
Yeah, I know, but like they couldn't have moved shit far,
Fair
given
enough.
that they were still here.
Might have not been the first guys here. Or whatever
You
burned it down in the first place.
If she can, Yuka would like to go outside and try to get the attention of a fox or a nocturnal omnivore or carnivore.
You can see in one of the trees above you
Some
that there is a
cleverness.
small, fluffy little barn owl that is sitting there looking
No!
at you.
She's gonna call to it in the like the friendly call. And try to encourage it to come a little closer if she can.
It looks down at you. You see it like turns its head and just sort of floofs up a little bit. It stays on the same branch.
Hail, friend. This place is now abandoned. It contains some evidence of foul magic and strange research, and will as such likely be raided again. Probably not by the same bandits, but by future ones. Please see to it that this land is protected, and that other compatriots of this area are not led astray into its strange experiments.
Could you give me a persuasion check?
Yar!
Yeah, that's a lot to ask of an owl.
That's a lot to ask of a small owl. You see that the owl sort of like, again, floofs up its wings and its feathers and does like that little stompy thing that owls sometimes do when they're checking something out. And then just sort of floofs back down and looks at you before flying off.
Suit yourself.
So is there
Anyway,
anything
might
else?
we get away from this necromantic weird dungeon place?
We'll go this way.
Which way is this way?
Which way is this way?
I don't care. I'm following Yuka.
Yuka's just like, on the world map, she's taking the shortest distance out of the woods that isn't necessarily the shortest distance to Iron Cliff.
Yes. So I'm going to switch you guys back over to the world map then.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to the manor
Just
house.
wants to get the party to a little bit more familiar, comfortable ground, because the woods are very obviously freaking people out, and quite frankly, it's doesn't want to deal with it.
Whoever just turned the party token, if you keep turning the party token, I'm going to lock that token.
I'm sorry.
No, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep pissing him off.
No,
So,
I'm not doing it now.
You're completely
But-
fine.
I have a question.
Yes, you have a question. Go ahead.
Throgyn is like slow, right? Because they're way overpacked.
Yes.
Okay. In terms of like walking through the forest, like is it like a path, except it's overgrown, or is it like a bunch of roots that you need to carefully avoid?
That is up to Yuka.
I think because she's going for speed and not comfort, it's definitely something that she's used to, like, clamoring over. She's like, it's just a hill. It's just rocks. It's just a very precipitous cliff ledge.
Yuka, no.
She's living by the law of the jungle right now and not really keeping in mind that, oh, right, some people didn't grow up with, like, bears for parents. And don't necessarily know how to climb that tree super good.
So, Rose, to answer your question, it is not a pre-established dirt path. It is, in fact, just wherever Yuka is going.
Mm-hmm.
And when they mentioned like cliff faces, I'm assuming that was hyperbole.
Roll me a dexterity check.
All of us are just.
One person, please.
I think Cam was asking on behalf of Throgyn.
I think Kim was asking on behalf of Throgyn. Do you want me to
Oh,
roll
So we're
Throgyn's
rolling for
dexterity?
Throgyn.
I don't roll for Throgyn. Throgyn's not here. Remember?
I'm gonna roll acrobatics because I'm not proficient at it, so it's a straight dex one, but
Sure.
it's gonna stay acrobatics.
There's no like cliffs, but there's definitely a couple places that are far too steep for anyone who is not Yuka. Or a goat.
She craves that mineral.
I know she does.
Okay, in that case, I'll just try and follow along the best I can, I guess, and hope Throgyn also keeps up.
You will all be able to follow Yuka. It's just going to be a little bit slower than Yuka wants you to. So
She's not gonna let anyone fall, but she's also not gonna pass judgment on the townies, you know?
That's fair.
Like she's been doing this for like 32 years. She gets that not everybody's able to keep up.
So as you
It's
guys...
just definitely not her first thought.
Got it. So as you guys start to move out of the Forbidden Woods, or the Dangerous Woods, as they are sometimes called by residents of Ironcliff, you are going to be moving directly south for a few hours. I think it's going to be about 4 hours until you're outside of the woods themselves, and back onto sort of the windy plains that surround Ironcliff. You will see a lot of prairie grasses here, depending on how loudly you travel and whether you emerge onto a... you do not emerge onto a busy road, just because there's no major trade routes here. So you would likely see some, like deer, off in the distance that get a little bit spooked by your appearance and run off. It is still nighttime. I do want to stress, at this point it is getting close to sunrise.
Big is now, we've gone, what, like, a good probably 16 hours, maybe, for this day. I would like to sleep. I would like a either short rest, or if we think we're protected enough, a long one.
Should be safe enough. Right? Because the deer are grazing. There's no predators out here. She'll keep watch.
So
Yuka will volunteer to keep watch if anyone wants to sleep and get a long rest. Yeah, she'll take the first shift.
So you all may take a long rest. Yuka, you can take the first 2 hour shift of watch. The rest of you can assign watch as you wish. I will have...
How long is a long rest?
A long rest is 8 hours. You must be asleep for 6 of those hours in order to receive the benefits of a long rest. Throgyn will be able to keep a 2 hour watch.
Okay, so before I go, like, try and sleep, I'm just gonna create, like, some walls. Like, it's not like a complete encased circle, but it is definitely some shelter from any wind or, like, I don't know, running deer from something walking over us as we sleep.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, you absolutely managed to make these little walls around. Please feel free to do your rest. So that's going to be hit points back to full, recover your spell slots. I work with the standard long rest rules.
For long rest. I want to see if it works.
There should be a button for long rest. Yuka. Yuka. As you are sat at watch, you can give me a perception check if you'd like. If you're actively taking
Okay.
watch.
She said she would, so she will.
You see nothing out of the ordinary. As the sun starts coming up, you catch sight of a lot of the crepuscular animals, very specifically a lot of small omnivores that come out that start to take, watch and go hunt for their food. You start to hear a lot of the birds singing. However, 2 things catch your attention. The first is that a little ways down the path, you recognize an area where you cannot hear birdsong originating from, which is bizarre for this time of day. And the second is that you suddenly start to feel a grasping, groaning, just pressure in your chest. And before you can even make a gasp or any sort of call for alarm, you feel as your lungs themselves twist in on themselves. Yuka.
Did I do a medicine check to figure out what the hell's going on?
You absolutely may. And then I'm going to publicly
But nobody
roll
else is awake.
2d8. So, Yuka, you would...
Yuka is a very different beast than Lise, thank God.
So, first of all, your previous character aside, Yuka, you would recognize that this is likely a... First of all, Yuka, could you please take your long rest?
Yep, I'm working on it.
No, this is important because the order of operations here is going to matter.
I was doing something else first.
You are very easily able to recognize that this is the same sort of just desperate leeching of life energy that you felt when you got bit by what had become of Lady Whitemaw.
Fuck.
And you are going to lose 11 possible hit points. Your maximum hit points are going to be reduced by 11.
Bruh. I do not remember how to do that on here.
I don't know if we can, so you might just have to take a note of it.
Well,
Oh, wait, no, I can do it. Not your temporary hit points, your maximum hit points.
I do not remember how to do that.
That is
I'm
fair.
I'm a pencil and paper girly myself.
That is fair. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to have it exist in your biography,
Okay.
maybe. I cannot edit your biography. Make a note of it somewhere so that we know that you only have 9
Yep.
max hit points.
I'm on it.
Sorry, 7 max hit points. I can do math.
What the hell? Dude, this is so mean.
You're the one who got bit by a poison dog. I don't know what you want.
Is Throgyn also getting fucked as he's trying to sleep right now?
The only reason Throgyn is safe right now is because Feather is not in this session.
Yeah.
This is a threat to Feather, my other player. So, Yuka, that is the only thing of note and of interest that happens on your watch. For
I
the
am
other-
also going to temporarily put my hit points down to 7. I've made
Yeah.
a note of where it is, just so
Sounds
I don't forget.
The other two of you, you may make me perception checks if you wish while you are on watch.
This is
Yuka does the thing that cats do, by the way, where if she's injured, she will not tell anybody. That's not your business. Fuck yourself.
Makes sense.
just perception, yeah.
Perception, yep.
Chamomile notices nothing.
Cam and Fig, you both notice nothing out of the ordinary while you're on watch. It seems like a standard plains area that you're in. You don't see anyone approaching you or anything like that. And you will all,
During
through
that
your long
shift
rest,
in our
yeah.
During that shift, Yuka would have told Fig about that section that has no bird song. That seems abnormal. But she's also there's no bird song over there.
Okay.
It's not normal.
Are you good?
Good night.
Lady,
She goes-
Lady Yuka.
She goes to bed.
Check with that in the morning.
Fig, Cam, if Yuka tells you, you'd be able to identify that area that has no birdsong. But again, still you see nothing out of the ordinary with any of the rest of your watch. So, you are through your long rest. It is late morning at this point, if not early afternoon. You are, I think, just about 2 days' travel from Ironcliff. Oh, sorry, just 1 day travel from Ironcliff. And could make it back by tomorrow, if you wanted to.
Okay. Got some time to at least plan how to talk to Vitale. Also, were you okay, Lady Yuka? Last night you were rather scratchy. Is that a good descriptive? Are you okay?
Yuka, you can speak as normal now.
Sorry.
She's choosing not to.
Yep, my
fair.
apologies. I will mind my own business. Okay. He's so pathetic. Yes, but so we should probably I would like to go through Vitali's notes. So if we could take like another day before we get back to Ironcliffe, so I could like read through that, that'd be great.
Fig,
Yuka's
you
gonna
would
show
also been
Fig
able
and
to-
Cam the notes that she took from the letters.
Fig, you would also have been able to. First of all, Yuka is showing you just carved rib bones. I want to stress this.
Thank you. That's a very interesting way of language. Anyway.
She takes like like a smearing of wet earth from underneath and just goes into the indents that she's made in the rib bone to make it a lot more visible.
That is intriguing. I cannot read that. I'm very sorry.
Did you write it in Druidic, Yuka?
I appear to have written this in Primordial.
I don't think that's one of my languages.
I do apologize for the inconvenience.
I mean, I also just figured that I wouldn't know it because, like, to me, I've seen some, like, Ribbones things, it's usually just, like, lines and, like, a sort of more coded than anything. So.
I appear to have scratched runes into this. Oops. Certified oopsie.
Fig, you would have had
Your
2
Honor, I
hours.
plead oopsie.
I plead oopsie. Fig, while you were keeping watch, you would have been able to read some of Vasil's notes if you had wanted to. Especially since you were on not first watch, there would have been sunlight.
Yep.
What were you looking for in Vasil's notes?
In the way that I wrote down the title of his things, an exploration into medicine, and then probably if there are any like coded things or at least very obscure references to necromancy in his search of medicine.
Well, I'm not going to make you roll anything for this because he doesn't hide his references to necromancy. Vasil Vitale spends his entire abstract trashing the art of necromancy and how it is not true life and therefore should not be considered as such into the exploration of medicine. He states that necromancy is a perversion of life and therefore should not be considered to be life itself. And that therefore
She may be back on board.
Oh no, Yuka's coming around to Vasil. And therefore any relations of his workings to necromancy is done both knowingly, but also very specifically as a way to point out why necromancy is incorrect and is wrong about this science. Further from that, if you continue reading what this exploration is actually about, what this thesis is actually about, you notice that it is a lot about what are the physical processes that a body goes through and that a soul goes through as somebody dies. And so you can tell that Vasil is very interested in the moments before death, and not necessarily the fact that he wants to keep like a humanoid alive forever, but more so he wants to see how we can overcome that barrier that leads to death. And he pulls on a few different stories of beings who have lived far past their normal lifespans. You notice that one of these beings is an orc woman named Chava, who appeared to have lived hundreds of years past what her natural lifespan would have allowed.
I'm just like, All right, that one.
Sunny K is smiling quite broadly. Would you like to share anything with the rest of the group?
You don't have to.
I like her.
Mm-hmm.
I like Chava a lot. Chava is friend.
For others, I, May, and Sunike have past campaigns known a Hubba. Anyway.
Chava was an NPC from a previous campaign that we were in, and she's quite lovely.
So, as you were all
We
walking...
recognize the name at least.
Yes. Fig!
This is an Easter egg for 2 whole people.
It's an Easter egg for 2 whole people. Fig, it is also worth noting that this is a name that you would recognize. From
Fig
your very
also
specific...
recognizes this.
Hmm?
Yes, I understand that Fig does recognize this name. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah, that weirdo. Anyway.
Yeah, that weirdo. You would recognize the name Chava from your very specific research. Whether or not your knowledge on Chava is true or not is up to you to decide, Fig.
No, I think of her as a weirdo. Anyway.
That's fair. So, as you continue walking towards Iron Cliff, you are going to actually be walking in the direction of that dead area of Birdsong. Are you going to be taking any precautions as you approach, or are you going to approach as normal?
Yuka is going to try and figure out what about this location is so abnormal. Can she roll survival, nature?
Survival. You could also roll Arcana if you want to roll Arcana. And this area is going to
Go
be
with survival.
just about here.
I'm going to be definitely rolling Arcana at this time.
Is Cam just like non-fussed, just like eh?
Yeah.
I mean, Cam's been in weirder places. Birds not singing is just a thing, I guess. You seem to care, so I'll join you.
I suppose that is very Feywild. Of like, there's just areas where sometimes there's a guy who's got tentacles for organs, and he just is there sometimes and he's not there sometimes.
I was not expecting organs. So, Yuka.
Yep.
Fig, I'll go with Fig first because Fig got a lower roll. Fig, you would notice that whatever is happening in this area is definitely magically caused. However, you're not going to be able to identify what type of magic it is or what could be causing it. You do notice that this area is drenched in arcane energy. Yuka.
Just as an aside, can I just know if I've been here before? Or is that a different role?
You would know that this is a place that you had walked through actually on your way to Whitelaw Manor, and it did not have this effect.
Okay.
Whether or not you identify this specific type of magic, I will not tell you on a 6.
Yeah. Understandable.
Yuka, with a 17 in survival, you would recognize that whatever is happening here is distinctly unnatural. This is an effect that somebody has caused onto this area. However, you're not able to determine whether it was purposefully caused like this or if it is a side effect from something else.
Was it after we left, after we passed through it? Because that wasn't like it before, right?
You would know that it happened after you had passed through here before. You don't know when it happened. There's no, from auditory clues alone or from, as you're approaching, you don't get any sense as to timing on this. As you three approach closer and you actually crest a hill and are able to see into this Dead Song area, you are going to see something quite interesting. And let me see if I can switch you over to the right screen. You are going to see that there is this circular area in which not only has the ground begun to shift into a very gritty, almost like dark gray grime, but the air inside of this area as well, it has begun drifting with ash and drifting with it looks to you almost like soot that is falling through the sky. You see that there is a single table, long, almost like a banquet table in the middle of this area, the top covered in a purple running cloth. And underneath the table, you can see coils and coils of these black almost what look like black ropes that just seem to coil around the table legs and up under and then towards a man, or at least a figure, standing behind this table. The figure that is standing behind this table stands taller than the table, but not so tall as to be abnormal for a humanoid, and is made out of what look to be static itself. You see you see that this figure is standing there with two eyes that almost appear to be glowing from inside of this, like, gray, fizzy body. And it's standing there very long, very lanky, but completely and utterly still. The only movement that you see is from small glitches that appear in the actual makeup of its body as it is standing there. You see on the table itself in front of this figure, there are 3 items sat down. From where you are standing, which currently is only about, I'd say currently you're about 30 foot away when you first see this guy. On the table you can see 3 items, one which is very long and cylindrical, one which is a small, what looks to be wooden box, and one which appears to be a book. What would you all like to do before you step into this sphere of influence?
Is the figure actually in what would be considered the dangerous woods, or just on the trail?
He seems to be, like, part of the circle affects the dangerous woods, but most of it is out on the plains.
Cool, so it's my problem. Great.
It is in fact your problem, Yuka.
Mm-hmm.
He simply stands there.
I'm assigning to both Yuka and Cam. You can see this?
If you mean the figure
Yes.
behind the table, then yes. Don't know what else you could be referring to.
I've seen something like this before.
Fig, as you have pulled your compatriot's attention away from the table and towards you, as you glance back, you notice that the figure has raised one of its hands, almost as in greeting, but is still stuck.
I think that as Fig like pulls them aside, Yuka's just drilling holes into the figure with her eyes.
Yuka, since you are the only one actually looking at the figure, you would be able to tell then it is only moving whenever you blink. And it does seem to be waving its hand back and forth.
That's fucked.
He's a weeping angel creature? What?
I've done a little research, but I haven't had much to go on, and it was a while ago. But I'm just... You can... Fig's weirded out that both of them can see it.
That's fair.
Greetings! Rope stranger person.
Cam, as you look back, you would as well see this figure doing his, like, hand up in greeting. Yuka, are you still drilling into this person?
Yeah.
You would notice that if you and Cam are both looking at it, it doesn't move.
We're not thinking at the same time then.
No. I could not think of a way to mechanics that.
I just wave back. What are you doing?
Cam, in the span of time it takes you to close your eyes, you notice that its hand goes from waving to gesturing at the table in front of it. Yuka, you do not see this creature move. It is still gesturing at the table, but you do not see the actual, like, physical movement.
So I saw the movement, but Yuka didn't.
No.
You don't see the movement. You see that it moved while your eyes were closed.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I'll approach the table. I've met weirder people.
Well,
This one's just quiet.
the game is unpaused. Please approach the table.
I think Yuka's gonna circle around to behind the table, like the area of the actual woods that it's bleeding into that's not quite touched by it. So like right
Certainly.
here.
So
I can't see that bit. I don't know if that's intentional.
that is intentional. Because I didn't want to...
Okay.
I'm going to reuse this set whenever you guys come and, like, find the table again, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just approach. Like, I'm not gonna stand at the table, but like a respectful distance away because I've been to magic shows and I know you're not supposed to be like in their face about it.
That is fair. Cam, as you... I'll go with Yuka first. Yuka, as you walk around the back of the table, you are going to see that there are a bunch of boxes and crates and chests just behind the table, sort of adjacent to this figure. It almost looks as if it's been piled up kind of haphazardly, almost as if the items have just appeared there over time. As you go to the edge of this circle where it actually interacts with the woods, you notice that it almost looks as if somebody has put a leaf over top of a stream. You can see that the woods themselves still exist untouched underneath this area, but for some reason this table and this sphere of influence has just sort of appeared here. If you want more information, you would need to give me a roll for that. Cam.
She's just gonna get closer to the thing. Let Kim do their thing.
Kim, as you move up to the table, you notice that the creature, its eyes start to focus more on you than on just the lot of you as a group. And it, again, as its hands are still focused down, sort of gesturing at the table, you see that it slowly moves to point at the left item. Or it doesn't move, sorry, it slowly shifts, like it blinks, to look at the left item, to point at the middle item, and then to point at the right item. And then to point, like, at you, and then at the table.
What am I supposed to do? Is it supposed to be like a follow the item game?
I think it's. Okay, I'll move it around. Need, if I may.
I will stress for you all, you have on this side a small, now that you are closer, you can identify these items. Ooh, as I've just drawn a line on the canvas, don't worry about that. I don't actually know how to get rid of it. You see a blowgun on this side that looks to be made out of some sort of bamboo. You see a small wooden box with a latch on the front, in the middle. And you see a book that you can tell has an embossed rose on the cover, on the rightmost side of the table.
It's not too much to discuss. Would you agree that these are, as you would say, gifts? And I gesture at the figure.
Fig, do you close your eyes as you do this?
A little bit.
You would see that, or you would not see, but Cam, as Cam is looking at this figure, would watch as it blinks into, like, nodding down, nodding up, nodding down, nodding up, nodding down, nodding up.
What's the catch?
Sorry.
You watch as the figure sort of blinks its head cocked sideways, and then shakes. Again, you never see this figure move.
It's a yes or no type of thing. Just letting you know. Yeah.
There's not much to go off of, but I've met weird people. Do I get the feeling that there's something hidden
You can roll
that
me an
I'm
insight
supposed
check.
to be aware of?
You can
Yeah.
roll me an insight check.
Inside.
Cam, you would not You definitely get the sense that this figure is not telling you the whole truth. However, you don't know if the figure is not telling you the whole truth because it is trying to deceive you or because it is physically incapable of speech. Again, you see a lot more like crates and chests and wares just sort of piled on the other side of the table, the side that Yuka seems to be watching from. And only these 3 items are laid out on the table itself.
Also,
Are we limited to the items on the table? I ask the creature.
You see it sort of blinks that like a hand is over its chest, leaned back in like faux
How dare?
faux offense, yeah. And then gestures back at the items. You get the very distinct sense of like, is this not good enough for you?
I wonder
just
how you chose them.
An aside for Sunny, it does say that you are still poisoned. But
You are still
I don't know if
poisoned.
that's
Yeah.
accurate on the.
Yuka is
little
definitely
map.
still poisoned.
Yeah. She's still poisoned. She's about to do something very stupid.
Oh no!
If this is who I think it is.
If
I think it is.
If I could, before that, I would like to, if I know if there's history on said book that I know.
And this, folks, is where my sister decides to torture me specifically. Yes, Fig, you could please roll me a history check.
Part of
Do
my
it.
theory, my conspiracy theories coming to life in front of me.
So, Fig, you definitely have heard of this book before. Do you want to make something up, or do you want me to make something up?
What I was thinking was, like, if I knew who it, like, belonged to it before, so...
You would know that the last person to have had this book was a drow woman that was never named in any of the research you had done. It seemed that most people only ever referred to her by an epithet, that epithet being shifty. She seemed to have owned this book, or at least had this book in her possession, and occasionally would write in it. However, whenever it was found, post her disappearance or post her death, the legends are very unclear on that. It had nothing written inside.
Mm-hmm. Nothing to see here. You can keep on going.
I can keep on going?
Does the creature look any type of fey? Or not at all, just, I don't know, godly or of different plane or...
Oh, what do I want to roll? Okay, you have to roll something for this.
I just want to know if he looks like my uncle.
I mean, this is not your uncle.
No,
You can fairly confidently say this is not your uncle.
I'm joking.
You could roll me a charisma check.
The thing doesn't allow me to just roll charisma, but I'm not proficient in intimidation, so I'll roll that one.
Oh, does it not? Well, that's good to know. Yeah, sure, roll intimidation.
I could just do the +1.
So, you would recognize with a 7. Cam, you would recognize that this figure is definitely not like any sort of humanoid you have seen on the material plane.
Mm-hmm.
However, you also have never seen any like figure like this in the Feywilds either.
Great, love that.
You can tell that whatever is happening here definitely looks to be arcane of some ilk, but you don't necessarily think that it's a Fey thing.
Well, then I don't have to worry about Fey tricks because it's likely not a Fey.
That's fair.
So I'm gonna ask it what's in the box.
Yes or no? It's in the box.
I don't think about that. I just ask what's in the box.
You know what? I'm just gonna make a roll quick. Let's see. There's 3 of you. You know what? Yeah. Okay. For some, you looking at this creature blink, and all of a sudden you see that the box in front of it is sprung open and its hand is reaching away from the box. You all just happened to blink at the same time and this creature could move. You see that inside the box, you could be a little bit harder for you to see this because the lid stops at like a 90-degree angle.
She doesn't care. She doesn't want to know what's in it as long as it's not like something that's about to jump into the
Well,
woods.
you see it's a mimic. No, it's not a mimic.
Fuck me.
You see inside this box that there are tons of tiny little vials, as well as a small scale set, a small cauldron, a small mortar and pestle, and every sort of tool you would need to make a full-sized alchemy kit, with the one difference of it is tiny and built in miniature.
That's
the box
adorable.
itself is only about the size of a small paperback. Or, I
Thank
guess
you
I
for
should put that
letting me
next to
see.
my head so you know how big I'm talking.
As I'm sort of like, Sunny, when do you want to go?
Yeah, Sunny, when are you gonna ruin my day?
I'm very interested. But as I look upon these 3 items and I think about the various members of our party, I take. Where is this? Yeah. I can't on the map like just inch closer to the table, but I will.
But you're inching closer to the table, absolutely.
Yes. That would you, as these are 3 gifts for various members of our party, would you like to be are you trying to be our patron? Question mark? I blinked.
I'm just looking away because I'm fascinated by the miniatures, so I'm no longer caring about the blinking.
Do you step closer to the miniatures, Cam?
No, I'm just looking at them now because I
Okay.
know if I'm looking, it's going to be a thing. So I'm just looking.
That's fair. That's fair. Fig. You get the very distinct sense that this figure, this creature, has turned to look directly at you. And you get a very overwhelming, like, emotion of somebody looking at you with mirth.
Fuck's mirth. I don't know the words. I'm just Googling it. Oh,
This
there it
is funny. No, this is good.
How could you do this to our ESL friend? How could you do this? As one ESL friend to another, how could you do this to them?
Because I said the word specificals earlier today and just tried to play it off like I knew what I was doing.
And we were all being polite about it.
I would like to
I
draw
clocked
everyone's
it.
attention.
You're good.
I would like to draw everyone's attention to the first D&D campaign I ever read. I said that they stumbled across a casket of wine. I've never lived this down, and I will never live this down. I know this. I accept this.
As in, like, a grave casket?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if
And I
they made
drank
those
the
boxes
whole
watertight, but
thing.
sure.
I don't think they are.
I drank the whole
So, Vic,
thing.
does that answer your question?
Sort of, and I hate it. I'm like now looking past the figure and I'm like looking directly at Yuka, at Lady Yuka, because she has not done anything quite yet.
Cam,
She
as you
is gonna
look at the box
inch-
in front of you. You would notice that there is a small corvid's feather laid on the table in front of the box.
Wait, Corvus Feather? Could you repeat that?
Yeah, Yuka, sorry. Cam, as you are looking at the box, you notice that there is a small corvid's feather laid on the table in front of the box with the alchemy supplies in it.
If I look at the whatever the leftmost thing was, like a blowgun thing,
Yep.
do I see something that could symbolize another one of us?
You see what looks to be a, like, rib bone in front of that one.
And the book?
Uniquely, you notice that there is nothing in front of that one. Rather, there is a space for something that is currently empty.
She's going to step as close as she can to this figure without touching it,
Yeah.
or without any kind of really dangerous magical aura spreading to her.
Yeah.
You speak now with the Witch of the Woods, the steward of the Lord Bestial and the Lady Verdant.
You're looming over this figure, just like at the
She
back
bl-
of its neck.
She blinks once to let it move.
It has not turned around to face you fully. Rather, it's looking at an angle so it can still see the table in front of it. But it is also able to look at you.
Merchants are granted the grace of selling their wares and making safe passage through this place, with an offering and prior granted permission. You did not ask, and therefore I will ask you now, once, to move your mercantile spot off the wood's edge.
Do you keep looking at it?
She blinks once and then she lets it move.
Okay.
No.
So it cannot move if you were looking.
Like she just wants to like stare at it long enough to like show how peeved she is. Because she could not take it in a fight right now, but she's doing that thing that animals do when they need to be big and intimidating.
You would see.
And then she blinks.
You would see that it has turned back to its table and is now reaching for the book with the embossed rose.
Dog.
You looked again. It can't do anything else.
She looks away.
Fig,
I
between
sort
your
of,
blinks,
like-
you would see that it grabs the book and starts to pick it up.
Yeah, I look at it real sadly. Like, I whimper like a little bit.
You definitely,
He doesn't
you definitely
need to-
see between blinks the hand like extends to you a little bit.
I perk right back up, and I'm like,
He doesn't need to like fuck off and never come back. He just needs to get out of the woods.
And he is going to start going out of the woods, but he has to do it when you guys aren't looking.
She steps out of his space and turns her back to him momentarily as a show of good faith.
Okay, that's fair.
I will say, because Fig sees that this figure has like legitimately like offered, or at least in my mind offered said book, then I am more comfortable taking said book
So,
rather than picking it up.
Fig,
So
you take a book.
yes.
Let's
So
see.
happy.
Let's see. Let's just give this to Fig.
Figgy. Figgy.
Yep, it's in your inventory.
Boop.
You have gained one book that has an embossed rose on the cover. As you hold it in your hand, you definitely get a thrum of curiosity run through you. You also notice that the leather binding is very, very supple, is very, very like well cared for, despite the fact that from your research you would know that this book is at minimum 250 years old.
Yep.
Like this is something that was around during the age of the dragons, like during the time of the dragons. This thing is a veritable wealth of information if what you have read about it is true.
Except no one could read it, is what they know.
They know that there was nothing inside of it when they opened it. You notice as well, Fig, that there appears to be like a small leather loop that you could maybe slot a quill through on the outside binding. As you are busy focused on this book, Cam, you would actually notice that the creature starts to close the alchemy set and take it back towards one of the piles behind the table. If nobody tries to stop it.
Could I take it for a friend? Like, I don't know where Throgyn is. But
Throgyn is standing with you, but is... Actually, Throgyn is not with you at this point. I'm going to say Throgyn isn't with you now.
Did Throgyn scuttle back to Ironcliff?
Throgyn's gone to Ironcliff.
That's really funny.
Cam, hearing you ask if you could take it for a friend, you will see that the figure stops moving back towards the piles and instead turns back towards the table and goes to set it down again.
I'll pick up the box
Absolutely.
and make sure it's latched.
Yep. It's this very nice wood in your hand. It's not like a fancy wood by any means, but it's definitely a strong, sturdy wood. Like, this thing could absolutely get seared if it were to be set on fire for some reason. But it also doesn't feel like anything would eat through it very quickly, and is quite nice due to that. You have picked up a small wooden box with alchemy equipment inside. I've added that to your
Miniature
character sheet
alchemy
now.
equipment.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, small
done,
wooden box. Yes.
Having done this, there is now only the blowgun left on the table. The blowgun sitting here.
I do want to thank the creature.
The rib bone and the feather have remained on the table, yes.
Interesting.
How do you think the creature can?
Just like a Japanese thank you style bow, but like
Yeah.
I don't look at it because that seems to be the way it moves. So, but like yes, thank you.
The next time when you do rise from your bow, you would notice that it is returning a bow in a very showman way. Like, one arm crossed across the body, shoulders at an angle. Like, this figure is very clearly, like, putting it on a little bit.
You should come like watch the circus sometime. I think you'd like it.
You again get this very you get a very distinct sense of, like, almost a smirk coming from this figure.
Okay.
Having bowed to Cam, as the two of you are engrossed with the two items you've just picked up, Yuka, between the times you blink, it is picking up the blowgun and is starting to move towards one of the piles with it.
She has turned around to allow it to move the table out of the woods.
Yeah, if you do not look, then the blowgun would get put back into the piles. And you would notice that a small piece of, like, like it's thick parchment, like it's nice, well-made parchment from, like, a card deck or something of the ilk, gets placed on your shoulder, Yuka.
And Valentine, if Yuka were to pick up this little piece of parchment and turn it over, would she happen to find a 7 of spades?
No, actually, she'd find a note.
What does the note say?
Please leave the circle before I depart.
She will leave it a note back.
Okay.
She's thinking about writing it in her own blood, and then she thinks better of it, and instead she picks up...
Yuka!
Instead, she picks up, like, a particularly reddish or, like, clay-colored pigment in the wet spot of the ground next to her foot.
Yeah.
And she writes back, "You are welcome to sell your wares at the edge of the forest, but never inside." Thank you. And then she hands it behind her without making eye contact with it.
You feel it leave your hand very, very quickly.
She
And-
turns back around to look at it and steps out of the circle.
You would see that the figure is looking at the note that you left on the same card. And then you step out of the
She
circle.
blinks.
Yeah.
She blinks.
I'm like bowing as I'm like backing up, just like staring down at my book.
Yeah. Cam, do you leave the circle as well?
Yeah, of course. I have no reason to stay there.
The moment all three of you have exited the circle and are no longer looking, with almost a pop, crackle of magic in the air, when you next look back up, the table, the ash from the sky, and all of those black inky ropes are gone. And you are
Okay,
back
since
on a
it was
standard
falling ash,
plane.
there was no sky that I could see.
Correct. The
That was
ash,
the deal.
after a certain like moment, there was so much ash in the sky you couldn't see anything else.
Okay. Just keeping that in. Anyway.
Little freak.
No.
But it was lovely. That they were lovely.
She does not say that aloud. That is
No,
a
that
Sunny
is
K
a Sunny
thought.
K thought, I do believe.
Oh no, Cam's just gonna say out loud. I thought they were lovely.
They were way more. He was way more polite than. I'm sorry if this is who I think it is. Way more polite than has been in previous interactions. A proper gentleman, one would say.
I will be saying nothing on this subject. If my players wish to elaborate, they may.
No, I don't want
Nah,
to.
Okay.
I don't want
nah.
to.
Okay.
It'll come up organically.
Okay.
I like this nostalgia trip for the three of you who have played a campaign together in this world before. Well, I'm just very confused and mostly just vibing.
Rose, you know
I'm
this
excited
guy.
to-
Rose, you know this guy.
I
Oh.
assumed, but I only know stories of this guy.
Oh.
We have audio logs that are private.
The way
And
you say
only for
audio
other
logs like
members
a
of this
found footage
campaign.
horror film.
We do. There's this movement on Twitter that's happening right now that's very like all the vaults are releasing their like unaired pilots. We will not be doing that to the Twitch fans. But in closed doors perhaps.
So, anyways, you have all left behind this little magic sphere of influence. You are back on a trail on the plains outside of Ironcliff. And you have the very
Let's go
distinct
back
sense
and-
that the rest of your journey to Ironcliff will be easy and without issue. This is where I have a question to ask to all of my players. It is currently 20 minutes until we end the session most of the time. I had one other thing I had thought about doing today, which was going back to Vasil to turn in his research notes. Would you all like to do that today and have that be our last scene for today? Or would you like to end it here?
Do you think that it would behoove us to wait for Throgyn to also be present in case Feather has some questions that they would like to ask?
So that is going to be mostly up to you guys. I would like to take this time to remind all of my players, as well as all of my viewers, that we will not be having another session until I'm pretty sure the 26th of May, just due to some IRL stuff that is going on. So it is mostly up to you lot if you feel like waiting that long for resolution to this. And possibly having another person absent that day.
Fine with waiting, because, like, in my mind, my first stop wasn't Vasil.
Oh,
So
where were you going to go, Fig?
I don't want rumors about this guy.
We could always do rumor collection in Ironcliff if that is something you want to do.
Why don't we do a rumor quest tonight, and then next time we can actually confront the guy when we have more information, and we can destroy his entire career.
Session 3, and you're gonna destroy Vasil's entire career. Fair enough.
I gotta.
You gotta. Yeah, we can absolutely do that if you'd like.
If we're going back to Ironcliff and it's a day's walk still,
Yeah.
I would like to ask.
Yeah, I was like, maybe more, not poison. It should probably be on our list of priorities.
We don't know if the poison's doing anything. We have
Yeah,
not
I know.
been informed.
Poison.
No,
You
I know
don't
May
know
and Cam
this.
don't know anything. Or at
No,
least
May
Fig
and Cam.
Fig
May and
Cam
Cam
don't.
know. Cam and Fig.
Poison.
Yes, Cam and Fig do not know this.
Yeah.
No, it's
Right now, it just seems like your weird feral cat is walking with an abnormal limp.
Mm-hmm. May,
Sure.
I'm very concerned. I don't want to have to heal this druid again.
Sunny K, I'm not, because I don't know when we're gonna level up, but it's soon enough that I can get lesser restoration. That's the long game I'm trying to play.
So here's where I like to sort of show my hand as a DM who likes to focus on the emotional side of role playing and giving my players the ability to make choices for themselves. You're not leveling up in time to deal with this if the last one took away 11 hit points.
Yeah,
Fine.
that's the concern.
Fine. We'll go to an herbalist. Fine. They're not gonna know what they're talking about. I'm just gonna need them to do that. Like, I'm gonna walk in. It's gonna be. Do you have a prescription from another doctor? No. I need you to do this, and that is it. Okay.
I could also tell you, Yuka, you have another option that you are standing on the doorstep of. Literally. Oh no. My players have disappeared. What has happened?
Oh.
I'm back.
Your players-
Do I have to? Do I have to ask mommy? Do I have to ask mommy and daddy for help?
I am just saying the last poison effect took away 11 maximum HP from you.
Yeah.
I will meet you all back in Iron Cliff.
Okay.
She's going to slink off, and she's going to slink off to her regular altar.
Certainly,
Yuka, I have a
lady.
very
You
important question for you about that.
Yeah.
How deep into the woods is your regular altar?
I would reckon she has a couple that are set up. She's just
Here's
gonna
the
go to
thing.
whichever one is closest.
Here's the thing. This is an area of the woods you're not super familiar with. So if you wanted to get back to your home base, it is still going to be half a day's travel.
Were
And
you
that is-
referring to something else? Just to make sure we're on the same page here.
No,
Were you
I was
referring to something
to
else?
exactly what you were thinking about.
Okay. I think she's gonna have to meet them up in Iron Cliff later.
Are you all going to allow a party split this early?
I don't know.
I mean, this lady's very intimidating. Who
You
am I
guys
to
wanna go-
stop her
Yeah.
from doing anything?
Do you guys
Yeah.
want to come to my house?
Thing is, if you offered like that, it'd be different. But Fig's really just like, I guess if you're done, we got the stuff. You can, sure, meet back up later.
If you would be inclined, my home would be welcome to you. There is a collection of tomes that may be
Fucking
of some
personality
interest.
switches to I don't care. Oh shit, I do care. Bye, bitches. Oh wait, you can come. It's like,
She's not very good with people.
I know, but my brain's a little.
She's not particularly good with people. She's like, I like to think that she's having the revelation of like, but if I separate from them now, then I have no way of knowing what they're going to do later, and then they could do something that is so drastically different, or like they could have pieces of information that I don't. The person who's used to solo projects is forced into a group activity.
And it's funny.
Sure, but I did have a question. You're going to your home? Is that like an accessible path, or is it just more
This one will be
off-road
inaccessible.
bullshit?
Yuka, is your home
Awesome.
is your home disability accessible?
I'm not
Is
meaning
it ADA
specifically like that.
compliant? Please let us know.
It is definitely okay. I'm trying to think of like all the stupid shit that Yuka's gotten up to on her own, such that she's had to literally drag herself back with 1 HP to her house because a hunt went super bad. Yeah.
Well, then I would suggest that we move quickly because the woods take a while to travel through. I saw you changed into a panther.
Yes.
Would your home be accessible by horse?
Yes.
Awesome.
It frequently,
I turn into a
it
riding
frequently is
horse.
passed by those who are
And
on
Cam
cart.
is now a riding horse.
I tell Fig, so get on, and then I turn into a horse. I'm also not great at communicating.
I see someone shorter than me just immediately get taller than me.
And is it a riding horse or is it like a big ass draft horse? Like what are we, like what kind of horse?
I mean, I think like big and heavy, so I'm gonna go draft horse. That's
Yeah.
also more
Yes!
likely that I would have been one before.
Yes, you definitely had a draft horse on the farm that you grew up on and have turned into him multiple times before.
As May, I would like to just be like for Throgyn if they are also poisoned, if they could be attached in this direction too.
Throgyn left like a bit ago.
Throgyn's already gone.
Right?
Yeah,
Throgyn's
no.
already gone.
Okay,
Throgyn went home.
nothing changed there.
Thorgan has
Oh, yeah, I
scamming
need
to
to
do, people to
do it.
scam.
Yeah, I mean, if I see a horse taking off in the woods, I guess I'm gonna follow it.
No, get on. That's what I said. I just
No.
like
They've knelt down so that you can fit. They were a
No.
draft horse, so it can fit your half orc frame.
No, I'm not a horse person. Anyway.
Fig is not a horse boy. Note taken.
you're just getting offended. Like me.
I think Yuka will then lead them down the half a day's travel and is going to be very reliant on her quarterstaff for balance as she gets closer because she's just not got a whole lot in her.
That makes sense.
Then I'm gonna ask Yuka to get on. Given that they're walking a bit harder. Which
Fine. She will begrudgingly get on Cam's back.
It's like
I like to imagine that Cam is just a big purple horse.
I love this. This is very good.
I feel like it's the I wouldn't do this to an actual horse, but because it's a person, it's okay.
Fine.
So yeah, Yuka,
Yuka's having some problems because I think like in the back of her mind she's like, this is too close to the unicorn for comfort.
what unicorn?
That's true. We don't know.
I'm sure the unicorn will come up later. So, Cam, you are led through the woods by Yuka's direction, and Fig following this massive draft horse. You are led into a small area. Yuka, would you like to describe what your home looks like, actually?
It's not quite a glade. It's actually on a rather nice like half clearing of trees where very obviously probably 70 years ago a whole bunch of trees were struck by lightning and were partially damaged. The wood that is not rotted, she's salvaged and is turned into a makeshift single room cabin with an outhouse next to it. There's a space in the like in what the yard would be where she has an herb garden and has a number of other like rare plants that are growing or are starting to show their seedling sprouts. And there's a little trail that leads down to a little brook that's a tributary of the bigger river where she gets clean water and changes and sometimes fishes. Inside her house, there's a single bed. It's a real piece of shit that she definitely got from a merchant who was like, one of us died on the way and we don't need this anymore, so you can have it if you want. I guess. It's like full of like glass bottles and tinctures and flasks. There's one wall that's just entirely covered with books of various sundry things, and then in the middle there's just like a stone table that has spell books, journals, flasks, tinctures, poultices, and like rock, mortar, and pestle, and a like a whole bunch of pigment that is usually smeared on her face.
Now, as the three of you emerge into this small glade, Yuka, you are going to know what this feels like because you are going to have distinctly felt this before. However, to the other two of you, Fig, you definitely get the sense that there is something here that is bigger than you, in the same way that you have sometimes gotten the sense in, like, religious seats of power or in specific archaeological digs. Cam, you would actually be able to feel a shift in the air as very, very different from like the popping crackling of that weird figure from earlier. This feels more like a slow burgeoning of something outwards that is just so much more powerful than you. It is a raw power that you have only ever heard tales of from your father and from your father's side of the family. And then you are going to see a very small little fox with russet brown fur scamper out of the ferns from the edge of the clearing. Not up to you exactly, but close enough to be visible, close enough to not be hiding. Sit up on its hind legs, look up at Yuka, and go, "Hey kid, what happened to you?" And that's where we're gonna end the session. That's where we're gonna end the session.
No, I love the movie.
Good one.
So that's our fun little cliffhanger for you guys to deal with until next session.
Fine, okay. I'm excited now.
I should also probably say, it's not "Hey kid," it's "Hey Milktooth, what happened to you?" So, that is all we have for tonight. I hope you did greatly enjoy this. As always, we have the first session of this campaign up on my YouTube channel, which can be accessed at youtube.com/NaliseRPG. You can, of course, find me here on Twitch. I don't have a schedule for Twitch because it is quite literally take it as it comes. I do know already that I will be having a campaign planning stream at this time next week because I will not have enough players for an actual session. Aside from that, you can find me over on YouTube, as I already said. You can also find me on Ko-fi/Nalise, which has been in chat this entire time, and on Patreon at Patreon/Nalise. Other than that, players, do you have any final thoughts you want to share?
If you are so inclined, I have a Bandcamp. There is currently a singular album on for sale currently. So if you would like to, you can check that out. Otherwise, this is where you'll see me most of the time.
Get those plugs. Incredible.
Gotta plug.
ABP, always be plugging.
Anything from either of you, Mayor Rose?
No, I think I'm good. I'm very intrigued where it's like we've got this a social druid that just brought two random people back to her.
Oh.
Gonna be very lovely. Anyway. And I will
You met a fox who's met with some familiarity.
Eagerly awaiting next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be so long.
It's gonna be so
And I'm
long.
gonna be so busy.
It's gonna be worth the wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you'll get to meet the worst man in Gurünk next session, so it'll be all fine, right?
But you also get to meet the best man in Gurünk.
That's high praise for this fox.
Is he a man? Who's to say? Not me.
So, with that said, I would like to give a huge thank you to everyone who was in chat with me today. I loved reading your messages and seeing you guys here. I look forward to seeing you next time, and I will catch you all in your next game, in my next game, maybe in my next video, once more with feeling. Have a good day, everyone.